Well, wait, Jess,
Oh,
you're very excited about number 4 on our list.
James Corden leaving.
James Corden is leaving the Late Late Show. Finally.
Why? Why?
I don't know. That's your
I
job.
don't know.
Seems like he's just feel. I, I haven't heard like a scandal or anything, so it just
Nah.
seems like maybe he's just like done with it.
I mean, which is weird though, because they probably offered him a cajillion dollars to stay. Because if, like, despite everyone hating him, or despite people hating him for whatever reason, he's probably the only late show host that anyone's ever cared about. Like, no one has ever cared about a late show.
Well, that's not true because at one point, like Conan O'Brien was a late show host.
Okay. But was it? Yeah, but to the point where
The thing is now there's like 18 of these shows. Like at one point it was like there's the two competing like main like time late night shows and like one late show.
But did people?
And now it's like every fucking talk like late night talk show shit has like 3 things coming after it. There's like
Seth
the
Meyers
late show, the late show, the fucking even later show.
Yeah, I mean that's always been a thing though. Like they used to do Carson Daly after a certain one.
Well, that's like it. That's even like a little bit after the era I'm talking about with like Conan, because
Right.
the Carson Daly era
I
is
think
kind
that
of
was
like
after Letterman or some shit like that.
yeah,
Or Jay, one of them. I don't remember. But
yeah,
was Conan that popular on the Late Late Show?
yeah. He was like the prime guy to replace Leno. Remember?
Well, yeah,
that whole lead into the scandal. He was like,
but I guess like Jimmy Fallon on the Late Late Show wasn't a popular show. Is my point. Like,
well, but if you just look at raw numbers, none of them are going to be because they're post midnight shows. But like for that time slot, yeah, Conan fucking did some shit.
right. I mean, I guess we're also in a new era. It's like YouTube and shit like that. Like you can see all the Corden stuff the day after. Like,
yeah,
a lot of his stuff is skits and
he does. That's probably his best thing is that he segments his shit into like easily like, oh, this is not like just gonna be like a 20-minute interview. We're gonna like break everything in like 10-minute structure and then make it real easy to watch on YouTube and shit. They seem to understand how to do that better than the other late shows.
There was also, what's his name that I loved? The
Craig Ferguson.
there you go.
Oh, really?
I liked him.
Yeah, I was being dead serious.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
I just kind of named one that I knew existed. I didn't realize that was always going.
no, it was him. It was actually no, because I remember like when all the Letterman Leno stuff was going on with Conan and just the mess of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just started watching everybody because I was like, oh, this is so interesting, all the drama and yada yada yada. I wanted to hear what everybody was going to say about the whole situation, and then I ended up like watching Craig Ferguson, and like the skeleton was his side host
Sidekick,
or whatever.
yeah.
Sidekick. And I would watch. My cousins were living with me at the time, and me and my cousin Vincent, we would watch Craig Ferguson over like any of them because we just thought it was really fun. We really were just trying to figure out if anybody was actually controlling that skeleton or if it was like
if it was a real skeleton.
He didn't know if it was like a puppet or an animatronic.
Well, we didn't know if it was like he had 4 noises that he made the entire show or if he actually like said full sentences. And at some point he started to talk and have full sentences. So we realized either at some point they changed it to where he would talk more, or he always did, and we just never realized it.
I used to like him a lot, but James Corden is leaving to write, it says.
To write?
To write, yep. And he might possibly go back to the UK, but he doesn't think so.
I mean, it sounds like
odd.
the dude just kind of wants to be done with it.
He wants to explore other opportunities, like in writing.
I mean, he made a shit ton of money doing it. He was
Yeah.
the most popular, like, late guy, as we kind of already touched on. But, like, yeah, I can see that. It's fucking, like, arduous career. You're there, like, was it 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week?
Right. And you're also not going to, he has no chance of taking over for anybody anytime soon.
Yeah,
like,
everyone's too young right now. Like, the oldest is, like, Colbert, and he's not going to give that shit up anytime soon.
He missed it by, like, a year or 2, But I think there was rumors that he was going to take over for Colbert because Colbert's ratings weren't as good until like Trump became president, and then he became like number one because of all the political shit. And
Well, Colbert also was the most recent of like the big three, I think.
right, he was
Like because Kimmel and Fallon, I think, had their shows before him.
yeah, they were there. They were all like mainstays.
No, that shit always happens. It's always like a year or two before people, like, even without the Trump shit, I think Colbert would have gotten there strictly because I trust Colbert to like find like a unique voice better than I trust like Kimmel and Fallon. I think he's got a bigger history in like just straight up writing.
Right.
While like Kimmel has like, I mean, what Kimmel's real experience is like vaguely. Was he a stand-up beforehand, or was he just like comedic shows like The Man Show and stuff like that?
I think it was more like The Man Show. I don't remember him doing. I don't know. I don't remember.
He might have gotten his start as stand-up, but then gone on TV, and because like a lot of people did that. Like Jon Stewart did that. Jon Stewart was a stand-up who got The Daily Show, and then was like, I don't need to do stand-up anymore. Right. I like this better. But like. And Fallon, we know SNL and shit. So it's like two guys that are like more performers, but like Colbert started as like a writer. Like he was.
It is kind of funny if you think about it. Like Fallon, who were the other two that you just said? Fallon, Kimmel, and
I was just talking about Fallon and Kimmel.
Well, neither of them were stand-ups. They just kind of just fell into that world, which is odd.
Because what's wild to me is Fallon, strictly because like it seemed like, at least in my opinion, he like disappeared post SNL for a little bit. Like I don't remember like hearing about Jimmy Fallon for a minute.
No, he was doing he did like Fever Pitch, or not Fever Pitch. Maybe it was Fever Pitch. I don't remember.
But like they were like,
he did a movie with Queen Latifah, and like he was trying to do movies and shit, I think.
Yeah, like most, I mean, they all do. They don't just straight up disappear, but I'm saying like I don't remember him succeeding like in like the way that like a Bill Hader or a John Mulaney has at this point.
Right.
Or, you know, a lot of people do, and that's seemingly like the toss up. There's like a ton of like hugely successful writers that made bigger impacts after SNL than during. But then there's also like a lot of people who don't, like the Chris Kattans of the world. Like who it's like their big time was SNL and then never quite got something else going afterwards. They all try. It's not like there's a very few people I think that leave SNL and don't try to
make it.
Yeah. But like not all of them succeed. And I thought in my head I had Jimmy Fallon in that camp. He's obviously, I knew he was trying to do something, but I hadn't like seen any like real indicator of success from him. So when suddenly it was like, oh, Jimmy Fallon is now a late night guy, I was like, that seems out of the fucking blue.
It's just so crazy, like, to know that you're going to have a job for the next, like, 40 years of your life. Like, I especially with, like, now with, like, so many different opportunities, I do find it interesting, like, what would it take for him to be like, all right, I don't really need to do this anymore. Like, I can just go do my own thing. Because I'm sure it's exhausting to do that 5 days a week.
Well, it really... I think in his scenario, I mean, this is also, I'm imagining being Jimmy Fallon, the Jimmy Fallon that's in my head. In his scenario, I don't know if there is like a go do my own thing. I think he already went to do his own thing and it led him to this point. Yeah. Right. The big payoff of that was getting here.
Right.
Like, which is like, you know, these like primetime late night slots, like these like shows, that's like a ton of people's dream to be that person.
I mean,
so
that was
not like it's a bad place to be, but like,
I think back in the day, that was like a comedian's dream. I mean, it's kind of like out the door now. Like no one really dreams of being a late night host anymore. I'm not saying everyone, but like, I think that's what it used to be. And now it's like we have so many opportunities. We have podcasts, we have specials, we have Netflix, we have, you know, movies.
Yeah. Well, but it depends on like what you want to do. Cause like not everyone wants to be in movies. Not everyone like wants to do stand up as their form of comedy.
But I do find
then like the podcast thing, there's only like, there are successful podcasts, but like if that's like, unless you're like killing it,
right,
it's not like the career, like
right.
So
I mean you could say Bobby Lee kind of fell into that. Like he is killing it. He's got 2 huge podcasts, but I'm sure he never. I don't think he's someone who thought anything was going to come out of it. I think he kind of just that also fell into his lap, and he can kind of still do his own thing on the side. Well, and now he has more opportunity as an actor because of the podcast, because people know him better.
Yeah, but like prior to the podcast, he was still moderately successful. I remember him. I knew about Bobby Lee before he was like his podcast was
He
big.
knew about Bobby Lee, but I don't think like a casual I mean, not that casuals know who he is now, but I think a lot more people know him now than they did before.
Yeah, I'm certain
podcast.
it's helped him for sure. Yeah.
Because even he talks about like after Mad TV, he had like nothing up until the podcast. Like he was still auditioning. Like he's not like getting jobs, which is
Fair.
It's
Yeah.
weird to hear him say, because you just assume like somebody at his level would be given jobs and he wouldn't have to be like fighting for opportunities against other actors, which he talks about all the time. Because he's like, it's only like 5 Asian actors that like they could hire from.
Well, that's what I was about to say. It's like, well, in particular, because there's not, at least there is more now, but like before his podcast, like it's very recently has been there like way more opportunities for like Asian actors in particular, and inherently anyone who's like not white acting.
Right.
Like there is just like for a long time it was like we have like this all white cast, and then we have like we're filling out the minority roles. That's the whole tokenism idea. Like,
right.
Well, we got to have an Asian guy, we got to have a black guy. Like they're just filling out for the sake of diversity, which is like kind of what people point out now a lot. And I think also,
I mean, it's mainly people on the, it's kind of like, it's something that people on the right have been upset about, but for the wrong reasons. Like they're upset because they're like, oh, why do they need this in there? But at the same time, like people on, I guess the left or whatever, like to me, it's annoying to see it be forced in there. You know,
well, I was gonna say I don't think there's like this very narrow. I think it's like corporate Dems, like the people who like would have been Republicans in the 80s, but
right. They're just like, they're just doing it because they know that their customers will.
Well, it's because they're the most performative ones, essentially. It's like, and that's what it is. So like a lot of people on the left and right, for different reasons, are both like, this is silly, or like this is stupid. But like it is, you know, if you're only casting people to be like, you're gonna fill that role, like you're gonna fill the black guy role, then yeah, you should probably just write a better movie, because inherently it's like, oh, it's like the problem that a lot of people have with a lot of like older sitcoms is like, you take place in New York and your cast is 10 white people. What the fuck? Like,
yeah. Well,
that's New York are you living in? Like,
that's even what Bobby Lee kind of like says. Like he said like recently he like read the dialogue and he's like, why? He's like, can you not do it this way? Can we? And he just like he didn't go for the role because he was like, it's just not. I just felt like it was unnecessary to have like that stereotypical whatever. And then somebody jokingly said, didn't you just play a doctor on the Sex and the City reboot? And he's like, yeah, well, fuck you, it's different. Anyway,
well, but stereotypes in different ways, I guess it depends. Like this one could have been like a caricature versus like the Asian people, doctors, lawyers shit. I mean, it's a stereotype, but it doesn't mean that there aren't doctors and lawyers that are Asian people. So
you're not allowed to have Indian and Asian doctors now.
Yeah,
which like, I guess is what gets misconstrued on whatever side of the fence, whatever. Anyway, James Corden. I don't know what he's gonna do, but
I guess he's gonna write.
We answered that 20 minutes ago.
Say, like, I feel like that was one of the first things we said.
I don't know.
Then we somehow got into this tangent where we're talking about
late night hosts, whatever,
the diversity problems of modern Hollywood. But
every time we talk about late night hosts, you guys go off on a tangent.
I know, because I love it. Well,
anyway. I like grew up like loving watching like Conan and shit. So like,
it's always interesting when
easy
that shit
for you
happens.
to dive into it.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, even though I never watched his show, I just remember you hating him. And then I was like, okay, this is something we can talk about. But I also find it very interesting, somebody who's probably making a cajillion dollars to just be like, I'm good. I'm gonna go right, which he probably won't make as much money doing, which is fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
It's really easy, I think, if it's not if it's not what you want to be fucking doing, but you made a shit ton of money off of it. I think it's like really easy to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna take all the fucking money I just made and do the thing I want to do.
Right, because
like the infinite pursuit of money only goes if that's your actual goal. Like if your goal is strictly more money, but it's like, yeah, it's not everyone's goals. Some people are just like, yeah, I have money now and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make the movie I wanted to make. Like
that's fair.
Yeah,
you're right. Speaking of movies,
like I won $30 million in the lottery, so I'm gonna spend every dollar trying to do it again. Let's go.
Is that not what you're supposed to do?
No, I don't.
Isn't there a guy who's like done that? He's won the lottery like fucking 5 times.
Yeah, like out of sheer luck. But let's move on. Yeah,
anyway.
would be great.